Sir, none of us wants to be involved in this, all right? I can smell alcohol coming from your breath.
100%.
I've got this right here.
Yeah.
Everything's on camera. I want to take everything right by the numbers and by the book, sir. Okay.
On the night of September 21st, 2024, Springfield police officers were called to investigate a suspicious vehicle parked outside the MGM casino. Time was close to 6:45 p.m. when they first approached the white SUV, which had a missing tire and a completely destroyed rim. This vehicle was not just parked carelessly, but the damage made it look like it had been driven for some distance, with the rim scraping the ground.
How you doing, Sheriff?
Good, very good.
Good. Hi, Lieutenant
my
Corey
guy's
Mackey.
boss.
What's that? Who's busting what?
They changed his tire.
Okay. Just to let you know, we came down to this.
Yeah.
We are recording, just so you know.
Yeah.
What happened?
Upon closer examination, the officers quickly realized the car belonged to Sheriff Nicholas Cucci, the elected sheriff of Hampton County in Massachusetts. This fact immediately turned a routine vehicle check into a high-profile situation, especially because the sheriff himself was inside the casino.
What's his name?
When the officers made contact with Sheriff Cucci, noticed signs that something was not right. The sheriff appeared slightly off balance, and his breath smelled of alcohol. At first, he tried to explain that a friend was driving the car, and he had only come to change the tire. But the condition of the vehicle and the sheriff's own behavior raised doubts about that story. Officers began recording the interaction and followed standard procedures, including checking if he was indeed the one driving the car. During the conversation, they asked where he had come from, and Sheriff Cucci said he had been at the Springfield Country Club earlier. According to his statements, any alcohol consumption had occurred at the golf course, not at the casino.
What's that? Who's busting what?
They changed his tire.
Okay. Just to let you know, we came down to this.
Yeah.
We are recording, just so you know.
Yeah.
What happened?
I was going around the corner, I popped the tire.
Do you know where? We're trying to.
right
we were
here.
looking to see where you were in the casino and everything, and
It's all good.
it's all good.
Changed his tire.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. The problem is, hang on for a second. Were you the one driving it?
No.
You weren't driving it?
No.
Okay. Who was driving you?
A friend of mine.
A friend of yours? He's in the casino now?
Yep.
Okay. We'll see that too. All right. But I need you to stay here for a second. All right. Sir, none of us wants to be involved in this. All right. But I can
Okay.
smell alcohol
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
from your breath.
100%.
I've got this right here.
Yeah.
Everything's on camera.
While trying to determine exactly how the vehicle ended up in that condition, police started piecing together a timeline. The damage to the vehicle was consistent with it being driven without a tire for a significant distance. They suspected that the incident occurred when the vehicle struck an object while making a turn near the casino.
I got to take it by the numbers.
Change the tire.
I got to take it by the numbers. We're going to review if your friend in there was driving, as you say. We'll see that on the camera. I can go talk to him. Everything will be good. All right?
As the officers continued their investigation, Sheriff Cucci did not make the process easy for them. Despite being informed multiple times that the entire interaction was being recorded and that the officers were conducting an official investigation, the sheriff showed clear resistance. At one point, it seemed like he was using subtle body language to signal the officer to deactivate his body camera. However, the officer refused to do so, stating they had to handle this incident by the numbers and follow correct procedures without any favoritism or deviation.
He's not changing the tire yet.
Yeah. Okay. Want to go down the road, huh? Okay.
I want to take everything right by the numbers and by the book, sir. Okay. It's good?
Stop turning towards me.
Oh, sir, just stand over here for me, all right?
I'm
Please.
going to go back in the front.
No, you're not going back in the casino. All right, sir. Sir, I understand you are the sheriff. I respect that immensely. But right now I'm conducting an investigation, okay? I need you to stay here and follow the directions,
100%.
okay? All right?
You can't pop the tire, huh?
What's that?
You can't pop a tire.
You're not going to be able to put a tire on that rim anyways. That rim is completely and utterly destroyed.
I got my guy.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Where, do you know where you ran
Yes, I
something
do.
over? Where was it?
Right up on the corner. And I took the turn.
Took the turn into here?
Yep.
Okay. There it looks like there's a plant on there. Was there a plant that
You might have been.
might have been?
Oh.
But that's where it was. So the remnants of the tire should
Yep.
be down. Should be down
I
that way. You don't
I have
know?
no idea.
Okay.
became clear through the sheriff's body language and inconsistent responses that he was not fully cooperating. Officers asked if he had been drinking earlier in the day. He admitted to consuming a couple of beers, but insisted he was not driving the vehicle. The officers also asked him to perform a field sobriety test, which he refused multiple times. They offered him the option of a preliminary breath test to quickly determine his blood alcohol level, but the sheriff again declined. This refusal made the situation more complicated because it increased the officer's suspicion, strengthened their reason to believe he had been operating the vehicle while impaired.
How much you had to drink tonight, sir? Couple beers?
Yeah. Keep recording me. We're not going nowhere.
Okay. I'd like to ask you to do field sobriety.
Nope, not gonna happen.
Not going to happen?
As the investigation progressed, the sheriff continued refusing to participate in field sobriety tests or breath tests. Officers had no choice but to move forward with an arrest.
I'm going to be very straightforward with you, all right? You came from East Columbus, you turned in here, we can't find the tire. Okay. That's fine. There's clear indications that that rim is pretty destroyed.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. You got here about 6:40 something, 6:45, so maybe 25 minutes before you and I started interacting, somewhere around a half hour. You've got clear indications of alcohol consumption.
100%.
All right. I can tell that you've admitted alcohol consumption. You've got your speech is a little bit slurred. All right. I can smell it coming off your breath. I can see the redness in your eyes. I'd ask you I'm going to ask you a second time if you will perform field sobriety so I can determine if you are safe to drive. Okay. I have a PBT that can sort this out right now.
Not going to happen.
Okay. So you're going to refuse field sobriety.
Yep.
All right. You're not going to take the PBT.
Yep.
You admit alcohol consumption. All right.
A little bit.
Driving. Okay.
The arrest itself was not caught on body camera, most likely due to department policies that allow redaction in sensitive situations. But once the camera resumed, the sheriff was already in handcuffs and sitting quietly with officers nearby. His wallet, phone, golf tee, and other belongings were carefully collected from the vehicle and secured for him. Even though this was a county-owned vehicle, officers made efforts to avoid towing it unnecessarily. The sheriff mentioned that someone from his team could take possession of the vehicle and possibly repair the tire damage. The keys and a $50 bill were left inside the car as per the sheriff's instructions. Officers asked if it was okay for one of his employees to take charge of the vehicle, and the sheriff agreed.
Your wallet's inside the car. We're going to go ahead and grab that for you. Okay? All right. Officer, can you just sit with him for a minute? I'll take him in my cruiser. All right? So this is your wallet right here. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in your pocket so you have it with you. Is there a phone somewhere that you'd like to bring? In that pocket, yeah. In your pocket. All right. Can I put this 10 in your vehicle so we don't have to take it? All right. So you got your wallet over here.
He was then escorted to a police cruiser and taken to the police station for formal booking. The officers handling the situation showed restraint and professionalism. They tried to preserve the dignity of the sheriff while still carrying out their duties without special treatment. Every step was recorded and monitored, making sure that proper procedure was followed. The arrest marked a serious moment in the sheriff's career, not just as a public figure, but also as someone expected to uphold and enforce the law.
I think I have a jacket on there. Just make sure. Nope, nothing's there. It's actually clean. Second, sir. Oh, careful. You can move anything over there and just ride with me.
Later that night, officers returned to the streets surrounding the MGM Springfield to search for more evidence connected to the incident. They followed scrape marks on the road, which were consistent with the damaged rim of the sheriff's vehicle. These marks were found in the center lane of the roadway, stretched along a clear path leading to the final parking spot of the sheriff's SUV. Some nearby cars also had fresh scrapes, including ones that showed white and red marks that matched the sheriff's vehicle. This part of the investigation helped confirm that the vehicle was driven a significant distance after losing the tire. It also raised the possibility that the sheriff could have been charged with leaving the scene of an accident. However, in the end, the only charge filed was for operating under the influence. This decision left some people confused, especially because there was visible damage to property, and the vehicle had clearly been driven in a dangerous state.
A vehicle with scrapes on it that does appear fresh, however, it has both white and hints of red to it. In the center line of the road, there are scrapes that appear consistent also with the tire rim that we viewed up ahead, and we're going to walk up looking at those scrapes as well. More scrapes in the middle of the roadway.
The sheriff was charged with operating a vehicle under the influence.
Sheriff Nicholas Cucci was later arraigned in court. He accepted full responsibility for his actions. He did not try to deny what happened or shift the blame. He was suspended from duty without pay for several days and enrolled in an OUI education program. His driver's license was temporarily suspended, and he was given a 1-year continuance without a finding. That meant the charge would be dismissed if he stayed out of legal trouble for a year. To cover the cost of repairs to the state vehicle, he paid nearly $2,500 out of pocket.
I feel very blessed as the sheriff of Hamden County, but more importantly, as the person, Nick Cucci. There's no question 6 weeks ago was not one of my finest moments.
After the incident, Sheriff Cucci publicly admitted that September 21st, 2024 was one of the lowest points in his life. He openly stated that he had made a mistake and would work hard to earn back the trust of the community. By late September, when he appeared in court, he made no excuses and said the responsibility rested entirely with him. Over the next few weeks, he received a surprising amount of support from people in his community. Many appreciated his honesty and his decision to face the consequences instead of hiding behind his position.
So today, I take full responsibility for what happened this past Saturday.
By April 2025, more than 6 months had passed since the incident, and Sheriff Cucci had avoided any further legal trouble. In fact, he was appointed vice president of the Massachusetts Sheriff's Association in January 2025. This position reflected the trust that some of his peers still had in him, despite the DUI arrest. He also spoke openly about the lessons he learned, saying that every bad decision is a chance to become a better person if handled the right way.
And if there's a day that comes up and you don't show your best version, well, tomorrow you wake up and you make sure your version's better. And that's a lesson that I've kept with me my entire life, and it's one that has really helped me over the last 6 weeks continue to show who Nick Cucci is. Never mind the sheriff part. Who am I as a person?
Now don't hesitate to comment down your thoughts on this situation, and while you're down there, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well.